The first sign of trouble came on a quiet Tuesday morning at Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station. The massive radio dishes pointed at the stars picked up something unusual: complete silence from the Centauri Trading Hub, humanity's biggest alien trading partner. Officer Mark sat up straight in his chair, tapping his screens with growing concern. Where there should have been thousands of communication signals, there was nothing but static. He reached for his phone to call his supervisor, but before he could dial, 3 more alerts popped up on his screen. "Sir," he called out to Station Chief Robert, who was already walking toward him with a fresh cup of coffee. "We've lost contact with 4 major alien systems in the past hour." Robert placed his coffee down, forgetting it completely as he leaned over Mark's shoulder. "Show me the pattern." The main screen lit up with a map of known space. Red dots began appearing one after another, each representing a silent system. The pattern looked like a wave spreading across the galaxy. "Get me Earth Defense Fleet Command," Robert ordered, his voice steady but tense. Now, aboard the EDF command station in orbit around Earth, Commander Jack stood before the emergency meeting of the World Council. His uniform was crisp, but dark circles under his eyes showed he hadn't slept in days. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, pointing to the holographic display showing even more red dots than before. "In the past 72 hours, we've lost contact with over 30% of known alien civilizations. The pattern suggests this is not a natural phenomenon." The council chamber erupted in whispers. An older woman raised her hand. "Commander, do we have any information from the affected systems before they went dark?" Jack nodded grimly. "Yes, Madam President. Our quantum computers just finished decoding a repeating message found in all affected systems. I believe you should hear it." He pressed a button, and a strange voice filled the chamber. It was being translated in real time from multiple alien languages. "Warning to all species. Ancient containment protocols have failed. The sleeper has awakened. This is not war. This is extinction. Avoid all contact with infected systems. We were wrong. The primitive worlds. They might be our only." The message ended there, repeating in dozens of languages. Back at the monitoring station, Mark noticed something new. "Chief, we're picking up ships. Hundreds of them, jumping into the solar system." The alerts blared across Earth as massive alien vessels appeared, more than humanity had ever seen in one place. But they weren't attacking. They were running. Commander Jack watched from the command station as the refugee ships arrived. Many were damaged, some barely functioning. All were broadcasting the same message: "Please help us." The World Council made a decision in record time. Earth would open its doors to their galactic neighbors, but with strict quarantine protocols. They couldn't risk whatever was happening out there reaching Earth. As the first quarantine stations were being set up on Mars, Dr. Anna from the Global Health Organization made a startling discovery. The alien refugees were dying, but not from any injury. Their bodies were simply shutting down, cell by cell. "It's like nothing we've ever seen," she reported to Commander Jack. "Their immune systems aren't just failing. They're being systematically destroyed by something that seems to know exactly how their biology works." As the day ended, Jack stood by the window of his office, watching Earth shine below. More refugee ships arrived every hour, and the red dots on the galaxy map kept spreading. Humanity, the youngest and least advanced spacefaring race, was watching helplessly as their older, more advanced neighbors faced extinction. A young lieutenant rushed into his office. "Sir, we've just received a priority message from the Galactic Council. It's their last transmission." Jack read the message, his hand shaking slightly. "To the Human Federation. You are now the guardians of all that remains. Your primitive genes may be our last hope. Do not let our knowledge die with us." The lieutenant looked up at Jack, fear clear in his eyes. "Sir, what do they mean by primitive genes?" Jack looked back at Earth, beautiful and blue. "I don't know, son, but I have a feeling we're about to find out." The quarantine stations on Mars quickly became overcrowded, Alien ships of all sizes and designs filled the orbit around the red planet, their crews desperate for help. Earth had never seen so many different species in one place. Tall, short, scaled, furred, some with multiple limbs, others floating in special tanks. Dr. Anna walked through the medical bay of Station 1, her protective suit making soft swishing sounds. Around her, alien bodies lay on beds designed for human patients, many of them barely breathing. The air filters hummed constantly, trying to prevent any possible contamination. "How many today?" she asked her assistant. "We lost 28 in the last hour," he replied, checking his tablet. "Whatever this is, it's getting faster." Anna stopped at one bed where a tall, blue-skinned alien lay connected to human medical equipment. Yesterday, this being had been strong enough to walk and talk. Now its skin was pale, almost white, and its breathing was shallow. The alien's eyes opened, focusing on Anna. "You must understand," it said through the translator. "We thought we were perfect, changed our genes, made them better. But you humans, still have the old code." Before Anna could ask what this meant, the alien's eyes closed for the last time. Another bed went silent. In orbit above Earth, Commander Jack faced a new crisis. The World Council was meeting again, this time with worse news. "The virus has reached the outer colonies," the president announced. "Titan Station has reported their alien workers are showing symptoms. But there's something else." She paused, looking troubled. "Not a single human has gotten sick. Not one." The room fell silent. Humanity had always seen itself as behind the other races. Their ships were slower, their weapons weaker, their technology simpler. But now, something about being primitive was keeping them alive. Back on Mars, Dr. Anna made a breakthrough. She stared at her microscope, then checked the results again and again. The virus wasn't just killing aliens. It was like it was made to kill them. "Look at this," she said, showing the results to her team. The virus ignores human cells completely, but when it finds alien cells, it knows exactly where to attack. It's like it was designed to target everything that makes them advanced. A loud alarm interrupted their discussion. The quarantine field around Section 7 had failed. Infected aliens had broken through, desperate to find help. Security teams rushed to contain them, but they all knew it was too late. Mars Station would have to be evacuated. Commander Jack received the news with a heavy heart. "Get everyone out," he ordered. "All human personnel, back to Earth. Now." The evacuation was chaos. Ships launched from Mars as fast as they could. Behind them, the quarantine stations that were built to help now became tombs for thousands of aliens who were too sick to move. On the last shuttle back to Earth, Anna clutched a small case containing her research samples. "Commander," she called to Jack, who sat nearby. "I think I know what's happening. All these advanced races, they use genetic engineering to evolve faster. They changed their basic code, made themselves better than nature intended." Jack looked out the window at Mars, growing smaller behind them. "And humans, we're different. We're still running on the original genetic code. Natural evolution, slow and messy. The virus can't attack us because it doesn't recognize our primitive DNA pattern." The shuttle was quiet as everyone thought about this. Humanity had always felt behind, less advanced, primitive. Now those same primitive genes were saving their lives. Jack watched Earth grow larger in the viewport. 100 alien ships followed their shuttle, carrying the last healthy refugees. On his tablet, reports showed more red dots appearing across the galaxy map. More systems going silent. "Send a message to all Earth forces," he ordered. "As of now, our mission has changed. We're no longer just protecting Earth. We're protecting everything." He looked at the sick aliens on the refugee ships, then at his healthy human crew. "We might be primitive, but right now, we're all they've got." 2 weeks after the Mars evacuation, Earth's scientists gathered in the underground bunker of the Global Research Center. The room was packed with the brightest minds humanity had to offer, all focused on the large screen showing Dr. Anna's latest findings. "The truth is stranger than we thought," she said, pointing to 2 DNA models floating on the display. "Look at the difference between human DNA and alien DNA. While we evolved naturally over millions of years, they took shortcuts." The room buzzed with whispers as she continued. "Every spacefaring race we've met changed their genes to evolve faster. They removed what they thought were useless parts of their DNA, made themselves smarter, stronger, more advanced. But those changes made them perfect targets for this virus." Professor Tom, an expert in alien biology, stood up from his seat. "You're saying our messiness is saving us? All those spare genes and random DNA that we thought made us primitive?" "Exactly," Anna nodded. "Our DNA is like an old, messy house with lots of hiding places. The virus can't find what it's looking for because we never cleaned up and organized our genetic code like the other races did." On the screen, a simulation showed how the virus easily attacked the neat, organized alien DNA, but got lost in the chaos of human genes. It was like watching someone try to find a specific book in a perfectly organized library versus searching through a messy second-hand bookstore. Meanwhile, in orbit, Commander Jack received reports from Earth's ships across the galaxy. They had been sent to check on alien worlds, and the news wasn't good. "The Centaur worlds are empty, sir," one captain reported. "Cities are intact, but no survivors. Same in the Orion systems," another added. "We found their automated facilities still running, but everyone's gone." Jack looked at the latest galaxy map. Almost 80% of known space had gone dark. The remaining alien populations were either in quarantine near Earth or hiding in deep space, already infected and waiting for the end. Back on Earth, the World Council faced a difficult truth. Professor Tom stood before them, his voice heavy with responsibility. "We are now the most advanced civilization in known space," he said, "not because we got better, but because everyone else is gone. Their cities, their ships, their technology. It's all waiting out there. The question is, what do we do with it?" The council members looked at each other nervously. Humanity had just become the guardians of countless alien civilizations, all because their primitive DNA had saved them. In her lab, Dr. Anna made another discovery. She called Commander Jack immediately. "The virus isn't just killing them," she explained, showing him the latest tests. "It's specifically targeting the genetic changes they made to themselves. It's like it's trying to undo their evolution." Jack stared at the results. Could someone have made this on purpose? A weapon designed to punish races that tried to evolve too quickly? Before Anna could answer, alarms blared through the facility. A new signal was coming from deep space, automatic beacons activating on dead worlds across the galaxy. The message was short but clear. Phase 1 complete. Natural order must be restored. Jack looked at Anna, both realizing what this meant. "It wasn't an accident," he said quietly. "Someone out there thinks evolution should happen naturally, and they're willing to kill to prove it." The weight of this discovery settled over them. Humanity hadn't just survived by luck. Their primitive state had protected them from a weapon designed to punish artificial evolution. As night fell over Earth, billions of humans looked up at the stars, not yet fully understanding their new role. They were no longer the galaxy's newcomers. Now they were its guardians, protected by the very thing they had once seen as a weakness. Professor Tom summarized it best in his final report. "We survived because we were patient, because we let nature work at its own pace. Our primitive DNA wasn't a flaw, it was a shield. And now we have to protect what's left of the galaxy until we understand why." Earth had become the hospital of the galaxy. Every major city now had special quarantine zones filled with dying aliens. The sound of medical helicopters and emergency vehicles never stopped as humanity tried desperately to save what remained of galactic civilization. Dr. Anna hadn't slept in 3 days. She stood in her lab at the Global Research Center, surrounded by blood samples from both humans and aliens. On her screen, another simulation failed. The 50th attempt to use human blood to create a cure. The virus is adapting, she told Commander Jack during their daily meeting. Every time we think we found a way to stop it, it changes. It's like it's learning. Jack rubbed his tired eyes. How many aliens are left? Less than 10,000 across all species, she replied quietly. And those numbers drop every hour. The emergency alert system interrupted their conversation. On the main screen, a new message appeared from one of the last alien outposts in deep space. Goodbye, humans. Thank you for trying. The Great Library is yours now. Then the signal went dead. Professor Tom rushed into the lab, holding a data tablet. The Great Library just transferred its entire database to Earth's servers, he exclaimed. Their whole history, their technology, everything they ever knew. They sent it all to us before they died. The weight of this gift hit them hard. These advanced races, in their final moments, had chosen to trust humanity with everything they had ever learned. In the quarantine zones, human doctors and nurses worked tirelessly. They held the hands of dying aliens, recorded their last words, and promised to remember their stories. Many aliens spent their final hours teaching humans about their worlds, sharing secrets and knowledge that would have taken centuries to discover otherwise. One alien elder, his blue skin now almost white, called Dr. Anna to his bedside. We thought we were so clever, he whispered through the translator. Changed ourselves, made ourselves perfect. But perfection. He coughed. Perfection made us vulnerable. You humans, with your messy genes, your chaos, your imperfection, you were stronger than us all along. He handed her a small device. This contains the location of our deepest vaults, seeds of our worlds, frozen cells of our peoples. Maybe someday, when you understand more, you can bring us back. But do it slowly this time. Let nature guide you. The elder closed his eyes for the last time, joining thousands of his people in endless sleep. Commander Jack stood in the Earth Defense Fleet Command Center, watching the last signals from alien civilization blink out one by one. Each light represented billions of lives, entire cultures, gone in moments. Sir, a young officer called out. The last alien station just went dark. Except for the refugees here on Earth. She paused, her voice breaking slightly. We're the only ones left. The room fell silent. Humanity had just witnessed the end of 1,000,000 years of galactic civilization. Not through war or natural disaster, but through a virus that punished artificial evolution. In her lab, Dr. Anna made one final entry in her research log. We failed to find a cure. The virus was too perfect, too well designed. It knew exactly what to attack, the very genes they had changed to make themselves better. Our primitive DNA saved us, but we couldn't save them. All we can do now is learn from their mistake. Evolution should be a slow dance with nature, not a race to perfection. That night, as the last alien died in quarantine, Earth's cities fell quiet. Billions of humans looked up at the stars, knowing they were now alone in the galaxy. But they were also guardians of something precious, the memory of 1,000 civilizations, their knowledge, their stories, their hopes. Professor Tom gathered his team for their new mission. We have their seeds, their cells, their DNA, he told them. They trusted us with everything they had. Someday we'll bring them back. But this time, we'll do it right. This time, we'll let nature lead the way. The stars seemed dimmer that night, as if they too were mourning the great silence that had fallen across the galaxy. But in that silence, humanity found its new purpose: to remember, to learn, and someday, to restore what was lost. 1 month after the last alien death, Earth's greatest challenge wasn't survival. It was handling the enormous responsibility that had fallen into human hands. Every major city now had massive data centers, holding the combined knowledge of 1,000 dead civilizations. Engineer Kate stood in the center of the New York archives, surrounded by holographic displays showing star maps, alien technological designs, and cultural records. Her team worked day and night, trying to organize and understand the vast amount of information they had inherited. It's like being handed every library in the world at once, she told her team during their morning meeting. Except these libraries contain things we never even dreamed were possible. The screens around them showed incredible things: plans for ships that could fold space, machines that could rebuild broken planets, and medical technology that could extend life for thousands of years. But each discovery came with a heavy price: the knowledge that its creators were gone. Commander Jack visited the Archive Center, watching humans learn to use alien technology with careful, almost nervous hands. "How much have we processed?" he asked Kate. She checked her datapad. "Maybe 5%. And that's just the technical data. We haven't even started on their art, their literature, their music." She paused, looking at a screen showing alien children playing in a park, now empty forever. "We're not just saving their science, sir. We're saving their memories." In Washington, the World Council had created a new department, the Ministry of Galactic Heritage. Its job was to protect and preserve everything the aliens had left behind. Professor Tom was chosen to lead it. "We need to be careful," he told the council. "These races died because they rushed to advance themselves. We can't make the same mistake. Every piece of technology, every scientific discovery they left us, we need to study it slowly, understand it completely." The council agreed. New laws were passed making it illegal to use alien technology without proper research and safety checks. Humanity had seen what happened to those who rushed into advancement. They wouldn't repeat that mistake. In orbit around Earth, the alien ships still floated, now empty museums of lost civilizations. Teams of human engineers carefully studied them, learning their secrets while recording everything about their design and culture. Kate made an important discovery in the archives. "Look at this," she showed Commander Jack. "Every race that died, they all made the same change to their DNA. They all tried to make themselves smarter in exactly the same way. But who gave them that idea?" Before Jack could answer, alerts flashed across the archive screens. Deep space sensors had detected something, more automated messages activating across the galaxy. "Phase 2 will begin," the message read. "Natural order must be maintained." The humans in the Archive Center looked at each other with worry. Whatever had killed the aliens wasn't finished. But this time, humanity was ready. "Send word to all Earth forces," Jack ordered. "Double the guards on every alien archive and facility. Whatever sent this virus, they might come to destroy what's left." In her private lab, Dr. Anna studied the alien elder's last gift, the device containing frozen samples of every lost species. She looked at the tiny capsules, each one holding the potential to bring back an entire race. "We'll bring you back," she promised the silent samples. "But we'll do it right this time. No shortcuts, no rushing evolution. We'll let nature guide us." As night fell over Earth, Kate walked through the quiet Archive Center. Holograms played silently around her, showing scenes from 1,000 dead worlds. Children playing, adults working, aliens living their lives, never knowing their end was coming. She stopped at a display showing the galaxy map. Where once thousands of civilizations had filled space with light and life, now only Earth remained bright and active. "We're not just taking care of some old files," she said to herself, watching the recording of an alien family's last message. "We're keeping their memory alive. We're making sure they didn't die for nothing." The stars seemed to shine brighter that night, as if approving of humanity's new role as guardians of the galaxy's lost wisdom. 6 months after inheriting the galaxy's knowledge, humanity made its boldest move yet. 3 Earth ships, built using a careful mix of human and alien technology, launched into deep space. Their mission: to find where the virus came from. Commander Jack stood on the bridge of the lead ship, watching Earth disappear behind them. The ship moved faster than any human vessel before, but still slow enough to be safe. They had learned the price of rushing forward too quickly. "Sir," the ship's sensor officer called out, "we're picking up strange energy readings from the edge of known space." It matches the pattern from when the virus first appeared. They changed course, following the energy trail through empty star systems. Every planet they passed was silent. Every alien city abandoned. It was like flying through a massive graveyard. After 3 days of travel, they found it. Hidden between two dead stars was a massive space station, older than any civilization they had known about. Its design was different from anything in the alien archives. "Look at the size of it," Kate said, studying the station through the ship's cameras. She had joined the mission as their expert on alien technology. "It's bigger than Earth's moon." The station's sensors detected them, and a message played through their computers. Approach recognized. Natural evolution detected. Access granted. Inside the ancient facility, the human team wore protective suits as they walked through dark corridors. The air was stale, unused for millions of years. Their lights showed strange machines and tanks filled with cloudy liquid. In the center of the station, they found the control room. As they entered, old screens came to life, showing data in a language older than any they had seen before. "I can translate it," Kate said, using tools built from the alien archives. "This place, it's some kind of evolution control center, built by a race that called themselves the Guardians." Commander Jack looked at the screens. What were they guarding? "Life itself," Kate replied, her voice filled with awe. According to these records, they watched life develop across the galaxy. They wanted to make sure evolution happened naturally. She paused, reading more. They saw what happened on other worlds where evolution was rushed. Entire planets died when species changed too fast. Dr. Anna, who had also joined the mission, studied the tanks in the facility. These contained the original virus. The Guardians designed it as a failsafe. If any species tried to force their evolution too quickly, the virus would activate. "But why?" Jack asked. "Why kill entire civilizations?" More text appeared on the screens, answering his question. "Artificial evolution leads to universal collapse. Species must grow naturally, or not at all." Kate found the facility's historical records. The Guardians saw it happen before. Civilizations that changed their genes too quickly. They all collapsed. Their changed DNA became unstable after a few generations. Entire species went extinct. The virus wasn't just killing them, Anna realized. It was trying to save the galaxy. If those species had kept spreading, kept changing themselves. She didn't finish the sentence. They all understood. The virus was horrible, but it had prevented something worse. In the deepest part of the facility, they found one last message from the Guardians. "To those who find this place, you have survived because you remained true to nature's path. The infected races chose to change themselves too quickly. They would have spread this mistake across the galaxy. Now you must guard against the same mistake. Let evolution take its natural course." Commander Jack looked at his team. "We're not just guardians of their knowledge now. We're guardians of evolution itself." As they prepared to leave the facility, Kate downloaded its archives. They contained the complete history of life in the galaxy and warnings about the dangers of rushing evolution. Back on their ship, the team watched the ancient station disappear behind them. They had found their answers, but those answers brought new responsibilities. "Send a message to Earth," Jack ordered. "Tell them we know why it happened, and tell them we know what we have to do next." The ship turned toward home, carrying the truth about why humanity's primitive nature had saved them, and why they now had to make sure no one ever rushed evolution again. 10 years had passed since humanity discovered the truth about the Guardian facility. Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined. The once primitive human race now watched over thousands of empty worlds, protecting them until their natural inhabitants could one day return. In her new laboratory beneath the Himalayan mountains, Dr. Anna stood before rows of special containers. Each one held the seeds of alien life. Carefully preserved DNA samples from every species that had been lost. She checked the readouts on the first test chamber, where something remarkable was happening. "Growth patterns are stable," she told Professor Tom, who had come to witness this historic moment. The DNA is accepting our corrections. We're successfully removing their artificial changes. In the chamber, cells from an extinct alien race were growing, but this time without the rushed genetic modifications that had doomed them. It was the first step in a 1,000-year plan to bring them back. Commander Jack, now Admiral of Earth's Guardian Fleet, watched the experiment from a viewing platform. "How long until they're ready?" he asked. "Generations," Anna replied. "We're letting them evolve naturally this time. No shortcuts, no rushing. Just like the Guardians wanted." Across the solar system, humanity had built special preservation stations orbiting every planet. Engineer Kate supervised the largest one near Jupiter, where they kept the most important alien artifacts safe. "Every piece tells a story," she explained to a group of students visiting the station. "But more importantly, every piece reminds us why we can't rush forward too quickly." She pointed to a displayed piece of alien technology. "They built amazing things, but they forgot that nature needs time to grow properly." On Earth, cities had changed. Humans still use their own technology for most things, but carefully tested alien advancements were slowly being introduced. The law required 10 years of study before any alien technology could be used, and genetic modification of humans remained completely forbidden. In orbit, the Guardian Fleet patrolled the galaxy, watching for any signs of new civilizations making the same mistakes. They had found a few young races starting to develop space travel. Instead of ignoring them like the advanced aliens once did to Earth, humanity chose to guide them. "Remember," Admiral Jack told his fleet commanders, "we don't stop them from growing. We just make sure they grow naturally. That's our duty now." At the Global Archive in New York, Kate made an exciting discovery in the alien records. "Look at this," she showed Anna and Tom. "The Guardians didn't die. They evolved into energy beings and left this galaxy. They trusted that someday a natural species like us would be ready to take their place." The revelation gave their mission even greater meaning. Humanity wasn't just protecting the galaxy. They were continuing the work of the first guardians of life itself. In the Himalayan facility, the first successful rebirth of an alien species was celebrated quietly. A small group of simple cells, growing the way nature intended, carried the hopes of restoring all that was lost. "It will take thousands of years to bring them all back," Anna said, watching the cells divide. "But this time, they'll develop the way they were supposed to. Natural, strong, free from the mistakes that killed them." As night fell over Earth, humans looked up at the stars with new understanding. They were no longer the primitive newcomers to the galaxy. They had become its guardians, its memory keepers, its shepherds of life. Admiral Jack stood on his ship's observation deck, watching Earth shine below. A message from the surface caught his attention. Another young alien civilization had been discovered, just beginning to look at the stars. "Send them our greetings," he ordered. "And send them our first lesson, the wisdom of being patient." The stars seemed brighter now, filled not with the artificial light of rushed civilization, but with the promise of new life growing at its own pace. Humanity had found its true purpose, not to rule the galaxy, but to protect it, guide it, and ensure that life would always have the time it needed to grow strong and true. The end of one story had become the beginning of a much longer one, and this time they would make sure it was told right.